We're here at the People's Convention with Stephen Davis, formerly known as MAGA Hulk, now upgraded to Ultra MAGA Hulk.
Let's go. Let's go. That's fantastic for me.
Turning Point contributor, amazing brother in Christ. We connected on the last event, and it's just
going
great.
Ever since, going strong ever since, baby.
Yeah, great to connect. Yeah, amen, bro. I was watching you last night at the Blexit movement, and you had great points. Nobody could compete. They had to talk over you. They cut you off early.
Yep.
You had 18 seconds left. They're like,
yes!
"Oh, timeout." That was rude.
Terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah, they can't compete on facts, so they just
try to shut you up.
Yes,
exactly. Indeed. Typical.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you were touching on some great points out there. I mean, I feel like the Black community is ready to switch.
Yes.
To come to a new way of living,
yes.
And they're seeing the cracks in the Democrat Party. So tell us a little bit more about how you think this can really transform the country.
Yeah, I think that, as you said, we are witnessing the revival within the Black community and awakening of intellect, if you will. We're sick and tired of the status quo. And what I'm seeing a lot of is they're tired of these broken promises from the Democrat Party, right? A lot of the Black liberals, right? They're seeing the constant lies, manipulation, and deceit from the Democrat Party, especially when it comes to every 2 to 4 years, right? It's the same rhetoric, same issues that they try to bring up every single time to try to fearmonger and get them to stay on the Democrat plantation, right? They want to keep them in this mental slavery because they don't want them to go anywhere. They need their vote. That's all it really boils down to. They don't care about the Black community. The Democrats never cared about the Black community. They cared about the vote, right? And that's all it really boiled down to. But now at this point in time, I see the Black community waking up, and I think the Black community, as far as the Black liberals, have been awake for quite some time. But it just took a lot of interesting circumstances to transpire for them to finally fully wake up, right? Like illegal immigration, in which they see all these resources going to illegals, especially like inner city Chicago, Baltimore, New York, Los Angeles. We see all these resources going to illegals instead of the American citizen. Now they're seeing this, and let's be real, a lot of people within the Black community need these resources as well. So they're looking at it like, wait, these resources are supposed to go to us. Now it's being diverted to the illegal. Now the illegals being pandered to and catered to and all this sort of thing. And this is what Candace Owens has said, I think it was in 2018 or 2019, illegal is the new Black, right? And we see this happening in grand fashion, and now the Black community is pissed. So as a result, I think that I think there's going to be a revival and a switch come this November when it comes to Democrat to at least independent, but they're going to vote Republican, and I love it.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I mean, they're waking up to the mental enslavement that they've had. They're getting subsistence from the government. They're getting programmed not to wed, not to be married. They're getting paid not to get married. Not to have a father in the home. To lose half of the child's wisdom and upbringing comes from the father. Logic, reason, discipline. All the things that you need, they say that even church follows the father. If the father goes to church, the kids are like way more likely to go to church.
You better believe it.
Yeah, and instead of harvesting, cotton or whatever it was back in the day, now they're harvesting votes and ballots.
Yes, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love that. That's exactly what's going on. That's true.
Yeah, and I was even talking to some pastors and preachers, and why some of the pastors and preachers in those communities don't speak the truth, and it's because they have government programs and handouts they're waiting on. They're like, oh, I got to get my project funded. But meanwhile, you're keeping your entire congregation enslaved for what? For money?
It's always been that way, yeah.
Jesus Christ said those are the hired help, And when the wolves come, they will let the sheep go to slaughter. It's not,
That is, boy, if you don't preach, that's exactly what's going on. It's funny because there's been a push. There's a great book by Manning Johnson. It's called Color, Communism, and Common Sense. And he was a high-level communist back in the 20s and whatnot, 1920s. And he woke up to the nonsense that was going on within the the infiltration of the black community when it comes to the Marxists, right? The people from the Soviet Union come to America, try to infiltrate America with Marxist theory, right, to subvert the black church and the black areas, right, to try to get the black vote, and try to get people to destroy themselves. You want to get people angry, vitriolic. You want to get them go against the situation and circumstance so that they can, utilize them to destroy America and rebuild America, a new socialist, Marxist, communist area, right? And he talks about this, and he talks about the infiltration of the black church, right? About how these Marxists, these communists came in and started subverting the black church from within, right? And it's really sad to see, because you see this same subversion going on right now, the manipulation of the black mind, right, within the church, right, which happened, as he talked about, in the 1920s and 30s, right, and on through. It started really in the 1920s and 30s, but on through, and now you see the full effect of it, the corruption of the black church, where they preach all these things that are antithetical to biblical teaching, and 100% Marxists, keeping these people disenfranchised in the mind, keeping these people oppressed in the mind, victims of the mind on this Democrat plantation, still voting against their own interests, which is what you constantly see, and I can't stand it. It's the manipulation of the black mind, the black vote, right? So instead of freeing these people, right, leading them to Jesus Christ, they're leading them down a Marxist path of destruction, right, and to satanic ideologies that are not beneficial to the mind or their soul or their spirit, right? So it's really sad to see this happening, and I think that there needs to be a new revival, a new awakening within the black community to turn their backs against this type of foolishness, this demonic foolishness, this Marxist foolishness that's been tearing apart country after country after country after country, right? We see the implementation of this in places like Cuba, China, Algeria, Venezuela. You go on down the list. Wherever they tried it, it has failed. And they're trying to implement this within the United States of America, and they're starting and really focusing on the black community. They want to glom onto any type of quote-unquote disenfranchised person, get them upset and vitriolic so they can bring about revolution. So it's time for the black community to wake up and understand we are being used as cannon fodder for their own agenda and to destroy ourselves, and we're doing it in grand fashion. So it's time for us to wake up.
For sure. And I feel like those communities are kept broken and uneducated because in order to believe in Marxism and communism, you have to be uneducated, because logically it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't.
If you don't incentivize people to work and get rewarded for their work and contribution, you can't just print money. You just run out of stuff.
Yes.
As we can see with all the prices going up. You print money, everything goes up because there's a limited amount of stuff. Giving everybody $1 million does not solve anything. It just makes us all poor because we eat up and destroy everything.
Yes.
So people don't realize, and they have to keep people uneducated.
Yes.
And what I was seeing in the black communities is they have their own people oppressing them through sin, through a culture of sin and godlessness, and that's how they keep control, because it's like then you have like violence in those communities, then the kids in the schools are getting oppressed by other kids in the schools. They're taught other people are the problem. It's the white man. It's and it's pointing fingers outward, but nobody's looking at the sin that has taken control of those communities, and it's the culture of sin that's actually destroying the fabric of those societies. And people are just pointing this way and not looking within. And I think that's one of the keys.
That's exactly it. Goodness gracious, I need to give you a pulpit. You already got a microphone, so you can go ahead and preach. This is fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, and when you look at this situation, you constantly see people within the black community pushing this agenda, right? Yeah. And it's funny because Booker T. Washington, he said this back in his time, and he was he was born in like 1855 or 57 or something rather than the other, and he said this himself. There's a certain class of race problem solvers who do not want the patient to get well, because as long as the disease holds out, they have not only an easy means of making a living, but an easy medium of keeping themselves prominent before the public. And that's what it really boils down to. When you see people like Angela Davis, Ibram X. Kendi, what's that young lady, Kimberly Crenshaw, right? People like push this racial narrative on a consistent basis, pushing this critical race theory on a consistent basis, right? Us versus them type of dichotomy. These are people who are using the black community to keep their pockets lined, right? These are people who are, and for those who try to say, all right, for those who try to say they would never do that to their own people, oh really? Have you not looked into the black community? Have you not looked at these drug dealers who will sell out their own mama? Sell out their own communities for a buck. Sell drugs to their own mama for a buck. At least she's getting her drugs from me. That's the mentality. Now these people found a more lucrative and an easier way and legal way to disseminate drugs. And now it's all about victimology and oppression. So the drug is systemic racism and the effects are victimology. And they want as many people hooked to this victimology so they can continue making in and raking in money and bucks and hundreds of thousands of dollars to their benefit, right? At the expense of the black community. People like Angela Davis, they charge $40,000 per speaking fee. Now, this is a woman who rails on capitalism. So capitalism's terrible. Capitalism is bad. But yet and still you charge $40,000 per appearance. These people are selling out their own people for a buck. And that's what's constantly going on within the black community. It's time for us to wake up to the foolishness that's going on. And it all starts because of this Marxism, which really Marxism is all from Karl Marx. And what did he say? His goals was to dethrone God and destroy capitalism, right? Dethrone God. Do you know how much of an arrogant person you have to be to say that I'm going to do what Satan couldn't even do? Satan tried to overthrow God. But I, Karl Marx, am going to dethrone God. You are an arrogant fool. Pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is time for us Christians to rise up and understand the foolishness that these black black racists really is really what it boils down to. But these black racial individuals, these black race haters and promoters of this type of division, we have to realize what they're doing and stand firmly against them and what it is that they're trying to peddle to the United States of America.
Yeah, because it's not Christian.
It's not.
In order to control, they have to take God out of it.
You got it.
Because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. That is. So we need to bring God back in, because that's the only way they can control us.
Yes.
Because we're oppressed through sin.
Yes. Yes.
Sin is how they're allowed to get control over us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really sad, and that's really what, but it boils down to God, right? We could talk about all these different theories and all this type of stuff, but it really boils down to two sides, God and Satan. And Satan is the father of confusion. He's the father of lies, right? So when it comes to that which is disorderly, that which is confused, that which is just simply not true, you can better believe it's going to come from Satan. Yeah. That which is destructive. He is here to steal, kill, and destroy. This is why Marxist theory doesn't ever work in any type of situation or circumstance. It always destroys the country from within. It's absolutely abhorrent, and we have to really understand that this is a spiritual battle. This is spiritual warfare that we're in. And it's time for us as the people of God to say, look, I'm going to make a stand right here, right now. And I'm going to stand on principle, God's values, God's morals, God's ethics. I'm going to stand on the Bible, because at the end of the day, that Bible is going to be what restores people's minds. I don't know if America can be restored. I don't know. But it's not about America. It's not about China. It's not about all these different countries. It's about the heart of man and getting people ensconced them to the Word of God and get them to understand that it's not about flesh and blood fighting. It's not about that. It's about spiritual warfare, and your soul is at risk, right? So let's get your soul right. Let's get your spirit right. Because at the end of the day, we're going to leave all this behind anyways. So what does it really matter? Let's get our minds and our souls right for the kingdom of God, and that's what it really boils down to.
Yeah. So if we look at that spiritual battle, I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. We have hate and envy, jealousy, anger, revenge, and what brings us back is one of the keys that Jesus Christ brought, which is forgiveness. Forgiveness bringing us back to love and unity. You know what I mean? And I feel like we as conservatives have kind of let the Democrats take control of these communities as well. We're not going out and realizing, hey, these communities are broken and oppressed by Satan and the Democrats, kind of one and the same. Yeah. So we've let them, but it's like, now it's affecting the whole country, because how these few swing states goes, the whole country goes. You can't just be like, oh, we're okay here where I'm at, me and my family, and then it's like the weakest link in that chain, it brings down the whole country. So we need that revival to happen. We need to come to these communities, and we need to bring them out to a Trump rally.
Yes!
They're going to see how much love they would get. They would see racism evaporate. We should bring them in by the busload.
Yes!
Really, really.
It's about waking these people up, and I really love what you said there, because that's really what it boils down to, is we bring these people, because there's all these misconceptions when it comes to Trump supporters, when it comes to rallies that are on the right side of history, right? I used to have them myself, and that's why I was scared to go to these rallies. I heard they're racist and all this type of stuff. I went to my first Trump rally, I had a ball, okay? I had an absolute ball. I was like, these people are just like you and me. Who would have thunk it? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
They're people like me. Goodness daggone gracious. They may look different, but we are the same ideologically, right? And that's really what it boils down to. And that we need to get people to understand that at the end of the day, take away Trump, take away Biden, right? This is why I try to explain to people. Take away Trump, take away Biden. Take away conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat. Just look at it this way. Which people are bringing the country up, and which people are tearing the country down? Which type of people are saying, God bless America and saluting the flag, and which people are saying death to America and burning our flag? Which ones are tearing our cities down, and which ones are building our cities up? It's only one side of the aisle that's promoting destruction, and that's the Democrat Party. And if the Satan's here to still kill and destroy, and you see the Democrat Party stealing, killing, and destroying, and you can see the two that are synonymous, and you see the other side. I'm not saying we're all perfect on the right side of history. I'm not saying that at all. But we are actively trying to build up our country. And the very fact that these people are tearing us down, we're building up. Which side do you think we should be on? Come on, that is not hard. It's 1 + 1 = 2. It's a very simple equation. So we need people to understand that and start voting correctly and start voting their values and not their skin color.
Oh yeah. And it's funny, I saw that a meme recently, and it was like, if you see somebody carrying an American flag or has an American flag in their house, you know who they're voting for. And it's not the current party in power. So that's...
Isn't that crazy though? Isn't that crazy? That in this day and age, if you fly the flag of your country here in America, you're more than likely on the right side of history. If you have an American flag, you are of the right. That's how polarized this thing has become.
Yeah.
To the point where if you have an American flag, they automatically assume you're of the right. Because you can't be of the left and love your country. You can't do something as foolish as that. So it's really interesting just seeing that that thing in and of itself is crazy to me. I'm a racist, right?
They call you a white supremacist.
I'm a white supremacist.
This is like a Dave Chappelle skit. you're a white supremacist.
Right? I am a black white supremacist.
They call you white supremacist,
they
right?
They do indeed. I am called all the litany of names. I'm called a Sambo, an Orbo, an Oreo, a race traitor, a self-hater, a white man saved, white man's dog, a coon, Uncle Tom. I'm called all the names because I love my country, because I salute my daggone flag. How insane is that? If you go to China, right, and you try to have this type of vitriol when it comes to China being in China, let a leftist go to China and try to talk down about the Chinese government. Yeah. See what happens to you. Yeah. You're not going to be seen after a while. Go to Russia and try to do that. Go to North Korea and try to speak out. Try to tear down the North Korean flag and try to burn that. See what happens to you. But only in America do these people have this vitriol and this hatred when it comes to our country. It is unbelievable, and it really needs to change. It needs to stop, and it just shows the two sides of what it is that we believe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're being programmed. This is all by design. Communists are coming to take over. This democratic socialism is nothing more than communism. It's not even. Democratic socialism is the way they kind of hide their terminology.
Yes.
But in reality, they're here to destroy our country. They're after the First Amendment. They're taking away the First Amendment. They've been doing it. Cancel culture. They're trying to take away the Second Amendment. You see who's enemies of the Constitution of the United States. which is what has built this country into such a great and prosperous country. They're literally attacking and destroying it. So we see who and what is going on. I hope people wake up to what is happening. Yeah.
I hate that term, democratic socialism. That drives me up a wall. That doesn't. What is, when it comes to democratic, or what democratic is, or democracy and all this other these terms, right? That's just the will of the majority, right? Majority rule, essentially. And it always devolves into mob rule, which is why the founding fathers always spoke very lowly when it came to the idea of democracy, because America's not a democracy, we're a republic, right? We're a constitutional republic. That's what we are. But when it comes to democratic socialism, right, it's just a bunch of people, majority rule, to vote for socialism. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. You're trying to dress it up. It's like you take sorry to be graphic, but a piece of fecal matter, right? And then you put sprinkles on it and say it's a brownie. That's what democratic socialism is. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's up to us to be able to call this foolishness out, to be able to call these euphemistic expressions out, because that's what it's always about. When it comes to the left, it's all smoke and mirrors, right? Black lives matter. Black lives matter. You don't believe that Black lives matter? Oh, you mean black supremacy and Marxism. That's what you really mean. Antifa or anti-fascist, Antifa. Oh, you mean domestic terrorism. That's what you mean, huh? I'm a minor attracted person. Oh, you mean a pedophile. We gotta call these people, and it's always on one side, the left, right? It's always on the left, women's reproductive health. Oh, you mean killing children en masse. Let's call the left out for their foolishness, especially when it comes to democratic socialism. Oh, you mean just regular socialism, communism, Marxism. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. Let's keep it 100.
100, bro. You're on it. You guys were talking about something last night about racism, and they're like, the people on the opposing side were like, oh, you have to have prejudice and power in order to be racist, but we just have prejudice. We're just racist, but we don't have power. Yes. That's basically what they say. Yes. We're racist, but we don't have power. So, okay, who's going to give you power then? So if you get power, what are you going to do? You're racist, and then you're going to get power. Then what's going to happen? You're going to do what? Like what? Like how does that make any sense? Like I'm racist, but I don't have power, so I'm not racist. How does that make sense?
It's the dumbest thing.
And they change the definitions. This is what they do. They just change definitions. The actual definition of racism is not that, but they just lie with words. They lie with the language, and people don't even realize what's going on. It's
Absolutely.
Crazy.
It's the dumbest thing. I can't stand this power plus prejudice equals racism. It's critical race theory nonsense.
It is.
That's all. This is pure Kimberly Crenshaw, right? Which is one of the founding fathers of the idea of critical race theory, right? And she came up with intersectionality and all this other type of foolishness. It's absolutely just it's nonsensical. It's foolishness. Especially when it comes to intersectionality. It's the oppression Olympics. That's all it is. How oppressed can a person be? Right? I'm oppressed because I'm a black, lesbian, transsexual, midget with a peg leg, right?
You are?
Clearly. If you don't see that, you're a bigot, okay?
You identify as that.
I identify as that, which is apparently legal. I guess I can do that, you know what I'm saying?
You're very oppressed.
I am quite oppressed if you ask me. I'm just saying, right? So that's what it really boils down to. It's all this critical race theory. So when it comes to this, power plus prejudice equals racism, and that's why I told them, if that's the case, to say that I can't be racist, because racism is a mentality, right? Racism is simply denigrating people based on the color of their skin or thinking I'm better based on the color of mine, right? That's racism in a nutshell. So to say I can't be capable of a certain mindset because of the color of my skin, that is the very definition of power. To say that I can no longer be guilty of this particular thing that everyone else can be guilty of. I'm going to take away, I can no longer be punished for this, right? Because I'm not racist. I can't be racist. I can't even be punished for this. I can't even be accused of this because I don't have the quote unquote power. So to say that, to make that assertion and actually have people believe it, that is the very essence of power, right? To say within a society that there are certain things that just cannot be because of the color of my skin, that is power. Black people have so much power in America, and it was done illegitimately. That's why I have a problem with it. It was done illegitimately. Black people have so much power in America. We control so much so that people lose their jobs by the mere utterance of the word racist, right? We call someone racist, they lose their job. We call someone racist, they lose their entire career, the way they make money. It's unbelievable the amount of things that black people can control. We have made such a stink that we allow DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is diversity, equity, and inclusion? Well, diversity and inclusion kind of go hand in hand, right? It's unnecessary change, not based on merit. That's what diversity and inclusion are. And equity is preferred outcomes, preferred treatment for preferred people. What are those preferred outcomes? Success. What are preferred treatment? Red carpet treatment for preferred people. Who are those people? Black people. So red carpet treatment on the road to success for black people, right? So when it comes to this whole thing, and this is what we're given, so much so that if we get fourth place in a race, right? If this was some type of running race, right? We're sprinting, and I get fourth place as a black man, and you got first place as a white man, you beat me fair and square, because you're faster than me. But yet and still, I can say, because of DEI, I now get first place, and you get second. I get the gold. It doesn't matter how bad or poorly I perform, I still take hold of the gold, right? And if we saw that in sports, we would say that's not fair, right? That's what we would say. But yet and still, when it comes to education, when it comes to the job market, this is allowed. And the very fact that black people can command this type of thing called DEI, and no one bats an eye, the very fact that we can do that is indeed power. I can take a man's job. I am not qualified. I'm not that qualified for this job. There's someone way more qualified than me, but based on the color of my skin, I'm taking his job, I'm taking his position because I am a diversity hire. That is power. So I'm so sick of this idea that black people don't have power in America. We have cultural power that we wield for our benefit in a negative way, and I hate that, right? We need to do better and recognize what it is that we're doing. We need to do better in recognizing that there are things that are going on in America that just simply aren't fair, and it's not bettering America. It's creating friction within America, because whenever you give someone favoritism, that will make people who don't have that favoritism, that privilege, be angry, right? So there is a thing called black privilege. There is that. When it comes to the justice system, and black people, there's a revolving door when it comes to black people, right? Specifically, you got critical social justice, you got all these different type of criticals to say that you got to change the justice system for the sake of black people. That's racist. That's racist for one, but that's power. So I can't stand this whole, it's just nonsensical. Power plus prejudice is not equal to racism. Racism is just racism.
Yeah, and those policies, like let's say in the justice system, and they're letting people out, it doesn't even matter the race. Now it's like criminal justice, where they want justice for the criminals. They want to let the criminals go to equalize something. Those criminals are going out and oppressing and hurting and killing everyday people of every color, and going back into those communities as well and hurting those people. It's like insanity and oppressing those communities. It's a broken system. I don't understand. Where are we? What are we doing?
We're not doing anything good. I tell you that much. There was a study to showcase the mindset of a criminal, right? At least the IQ of a criminal, and they found out that the average IQ of a criminal, of a repeat offender who's an adult, is 85.
Wow.
85. Now, to put this in perspective, from 70 to 84 is borderline mental retardation. So the average IQ of a criminal is 85, 1 point above mental retardation. These are people who don't have the intellectual capacity to understand or realize empathy, because empathy is not just an emotion, it's an intellectual mindset to say, I am intelligent enough to put myself in that person's shoes, to know that if I disenfranchise them in any shape, form, or fashion, then that's going to be terrible for them, right? And I don't want to make things horrible for this person. Therefore, I'm not going to do something that's going to tear them down. That's what an intelligent person would do, right? But you have a criminal, a repeat offender who doesn't care about that. They lack the intellectual capacity to be empathetic and to be a proper member of society. If that's the case, you don't belong in polite society. You belong in prison, which should be your home, until you have the wherewithal and the intellect to be able to tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to do better for the sake of myself and my community. If you can't do that, then you belong in jail. I don't want criminal justice reform. I want victim justice reform. I want more love shown toward the victim. I want more restitution towards the victim. The victim didn't ask to be a victim. The criminal willingly decided, made the conscious decision to be a criminal. He made the conscious decision to be a perpetrator, to victimize people. The victim didn't decide this. So I don't care about the criminal. He has eliminated himself from my care and my concern when he decided to be a criminal and knock over certain people using a gun and shooting people and all that sort of terrorizing this community. You have no love for me. You can stay in jail until you figure out life. When it comes to the victim, that's what we need to show our compassion and our empathy and our sympathy, and give them some type of love and understanding to know that I'm sorry that you've been going through this situation or circumstance. We're going to do things better for you. And one of those things is we're going to lock up the person who offended you, right? Illegally, did something illegal. And we're going to keep that person locked up for your sake and for the sake of the community. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Yes,
we need to address the problem even at the root cause as well. Like, we need to go into these communities and fix them. I feel like there's a solution to everything.
Sure.
You're not going to get it from the Democrat Party. You know, they're not looking to solve anything. They're looking to keep it broken. You know, because only in the broken communities are you going to get people voting 90% Democrat.
You better believe it.
You know, you got to have 85 IQ.
Yes, indeed. No IQ individual.
You know, and the school systems are broken too. They're like letting kids go through grades and they're passing them to not fail them, to equalize some kind of, like, what are we doing here? Like this, Democrats are doing this. It's like, how's that okay? And then people wonder why the societies are broken, why the communities are broken. And it's like, we have the answers right here.
Yes.
But if you can't hear the intelligent people speaking because other people are telling you they're the bad guys, don't listen to them. You can't. This race of people, you can't talk to them because they have this race, so their opinion doesn't matter. Like, this is what they say.
It's asinine. It's asinine, but people fall for it, right? Because when you see it, that's one of the ideologies of what's his name? He wrote Rules for Radicals back in the 60s. I can't remember the guy's name. Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals, right? And one of those rules, one of the steps is to demonize somebody. It doesn't have to be true. Just keep demonizing them into oblivion until the point where the whole of society believes it. It doesn't have to be the truth, but if you say it enough, it's going to become the truth, right? At least to these people who don't know any better. And that's what they're doing with the black community. It makes no sense that they're doing the things, that they're getting away with the things that they're doing. It makes no sense. But when you demonize a particular party of people so much, right? So much so that they automatically will believe anything that not you know what I'm saying, but anything that as a black person would say, a black liberal or black Democrat would say, that is the very idea of indoctrination. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on in our school districts. That's what's going on in our communities. That's what's going on in our culture. It's just pure, what's going on in the news media. And when you have everyone putting out this current a narrative, this is what you're going to receive as a result. A broken society, a broken culture, and it doesn't matter that people can see with their own eyes that the way they've been believing, the way they've been talking, is detrimental to the whole of society. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I have been indoctrinated. I will keep doing what I'm told to do. I'm a robot. Whatever you tell me to do, I will go ahead and do it. And that's what you see within the black community. So it's incumbent on us to make us stand in this day and age and say no more. I'm going to go out and I'm going to meet them where they're at. I'm going to wake these people up. I'm going to shake them out of their stupor that they're in and get them to understand that you're working against your own community, your own values, your own ideologies, whatever have you. And if we can do that, I think we can really make an inroad into the black demographic, a voter, But they're waking up, as we see, like I said, with the illegal immigration, with the things that they're seeing when it comes to the southern border, when it comes to the resources that's not going to them, when it comes to their broken communities, when it comes to the lies, the manipulation, the deceit of the Democrat Party. They're just seeing all this, and it's finally taking its toll. And I think it's going to tip in our favor.
Yeah. And I think the Democrats see that as well.
Yep.
And I think that's why they're bringing in those voters.
Yes,
that's exactly what's happening.
Yes,
yeah.
It's like, you know, the whole idea of the census, right? You just the census counts everybody, and based on these, because it's not only the voters, it's due to the census. Because we've had a lot of flight from California, right? People are trying to get the heck out of Dodge, and as a result, California has been losing seats, right? So you gotta flood these areas and bring back the population size so you can increase the amount of seats that these Democrat areas and Democrat states and Democrat districts, can utilize and have, and be able to put people in the Congress to try to tip the scale. So there's a two-pronged attack. There's the census data, which contributes to the collection of seats when it comes to Congress, and then there's the actual voting patterns, because these illegals, you really think they ain't getting ballots? You really think these illegals are somehow illegally obtaining ballots? Do you think they all of a sudden become a law-abiding citizen after they come into the United States of America? Because they've said that. I've seen interview after interview after interview after interview of people on the border interviewing these illegals, and they say point blank that if they could vote, they would vote for Biden. We love Biden. Biden give us a chance. Biden. Oh, now things are starting to come full circle. Now we're starting to see what this is all about. Things have become clearly now. So, and let's not to mention the fact that illegals can already vote in a lot of these local elections.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're pushing for that in D.C., California. I mean, all these different areas, they can already vote in that, right? So the very fact that they have a say in our election system, they have a say, and when it comes to the United States of America, you are not a citizen of our country, therefore you cannot say anything about our country. You are basically a visitor. It's basically saying someone breaks into my house, right? Breaks into my house, and now they're dictating to me, right? To me in my house, how things should be run. And they have a vote, and they have a say just as much as my wife and kid. Are you freaking kidding me? And if my wife says, wait a minute, we don't know this dude from Adam. He doesn't belong in this house, right? He broke in. This dude is doing something illegal, but yet and still you're listening to this guy? That we would look at that as abhorrent, but yet and still this happening right now to America, and no one bats an eye.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even worse than that. It's not even that they're breaking in. They're breaking in, but they were invited in. They were invited in to your house so that this group of people could take over, and not even just, they're importing voters so that the Democrat Party could have control over your house and my house and the whole country, and to run it into the ground just so they have power. That is Marxism, that is communism, and people need to wake up. People need to just really get clear on what's happening. Like, the second they came into power, Democratic Party, Biden, they opened the borders, they opened the floodgates, and nobody wants this. Nobody needs this. The country's going to be unrecognizable, and if we don't change that this election, the country's going to be gone. So people need to wake up. People need to get everyone around them awake to what's going on. Bring everybody you can to vote. It's not enough to go vote yourself. Wake up as many people, talk to as many people, share videos, share the truth. The truth will wake people up. The truth is like a lion. It stands for itself. You got a lion right there. And you are a lion speaking the truth boldly. So, I think that's what we need to do, and people need to get out and vote. Do you have any other suggestions on how we can get this transformed and what people can do to really make a difference?
Well, I think what you said was absolutely on point. You know, I try to tell this to every single person, that if you have a cell phone and you have a social media, then you are a journalist. And if you are a journalist, you should be reporting on the things around you, right? You should be using your platform, your soapbox, to speak the truth, because the truth will set you free, right? That's what the Bible says. The truth will set us free, right? So if we get the truth out to the people, eventually it will break through. It's all about planting seeds. And we're planting seeds and kernels of truth everywhere. And in doing so, in doing this thing, these seeds will eventually germinate. That's what happened with me. Back when I was a liberal, back when I was liberalized, people planted seeds into my life to the point where finally one day I had the right conditions for this seed to germinate, right? And now I'm doing this, right? Now I'm doing things that I never thought I would ever do, right? So the very fact that this can happen for me, of all people, me, then it can happen for anybody at this point, you know what I'm saying? So we need to be proactive. We need to stand on principle, stand 10 toes down on the ground, and stand up for what we know to be right, right? We need to stand on the courage of our convictions and fight hard. Because me and my boy Anthony Watson, and my co-host, we say this all the time. If we lose America, where the heck do we go? Do we go to China? Is that where we go? I heard the religious freedom was great in China, right? Do we go to Canada? Is that where we go? I heard we have wonderful free speech laws out there. Wonderful. I heard it's really good when it comes to the 2A too. Not so much. Do we go to Mexico and deal with the cartels? Is that where we want to go? Do you want to go to Australia where it's all about the elites and they get to tell you what to do and you better follow suit? Do we go to the Middle East where we have Sharia law and women are not given any type of rights? Where do we go? So if that's the case, it would behoove us to fight for America, fight for our country like our very lives depend on it, because it does. So we need to do that. We need to mobilize, go out there, stand on the courage of our convictions and fight.
Amen. And stand on the truth, you know, and the truth is how we defeat. It's a spiritual battle, and it's an empire of lies and illusion, and the truth cuts right through it. And that's all we need to do is stand up and speak the truth and vote and speak and stand and be a lion. Be like Ultra MAGA Hulk.
Let's go. Yes, indeed.
Awesome, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on. Did you have anything to add to this?
Well, I'll just say, you know, it's on us. At the end of the day, it's on us. And if our country fails, it's our fault. It's our own doing, you know. And I would say fight like hell. You know, when it comes to this November, mobilize. The church got to mobilize too. I'm so sick of the church falling back and saying this is not our responsibility. This is your responsibility. Your responsibility is to speak the truth. That's what you're called to do. Your responsibility is to side with truth, right? Ephesians 5:11 have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. That's what we're called to do as Christians. So why don't we do that in all accounts, even when it comes to the political, right? So we need to go out there. We need to mobilize. We need to talk the truth. And, you know, let's hope that things turn around this November.
Yeah, and the preachers and teachers out there, you got to realize, what does it say in the Bible? You will be judged harder. You know, you will be judged harder if you're not being the shepherds of your congregation. So, you know, we have a few months left to save this country and to save this world. So I think we all need to do our part. I hope this message gets you energized and excited. We need to change the world, and I think we can. And hopefully this message goes out to you and share it with as many people as possible. And how can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on social media. You can find me on Stephen Davis 1776 on Instagram. You can also find me on Twitter at Stephen D 1776. And hope to see you there. Let's wake people up and shake up the world.
Amen, brother.